are the best for growing an audience. Of course, formats are there's a million, one pagers, text posts, and variety is very important. But if you want to start out, these two formats are my favorite.
Okay, so carousels and videos, in your opinion.
Those are my favorite.
Okay, gotcha. Um, so you mentioned already the ideal posting schedule, which is three, right?
8 a.m. EST, which is like 2 p.m. Central Time.
Okay, great. And the amount of weekly content that yeah that you suggest to be shared is three. Is it correct?
Think if you are going to be posting and it's not easy for you to do five, then three is a safe place.
Okay, great. Also, I always make the people laugh because I tell them, look, I want to preserve your mental health. For that reason, I'm telling you not to post more than three, because seven posts a week, that is,
It's
they
insane.
need to take some, yeah, and
It
somebody
gets
did. So, yeah. Um, okay, so in these three weekly posts, do you recommend some personal stories to be featured in? And how would you balance personal stories with educational content and expertise proving content? How would you behave?
yeah. When we say personal and storytelling, I don't mean you have to talk about the problem you had with your spouse or the health issue your family is going through or you're going to. Those things are personal. You can decide if you want to do those things and you feel close enough to your community to share these things. But being personal doesn't mean um doesn't mean sharing things that are very, very kind of like internal of your life. It's about, you can also be personal about your business, about your day to day as a business professional. So, what did you learn? What did you fail at? How are you building a business today? How are you hiring? What mistakes did you make? Because that's what makes you real and human. And the problem is that we mix those two things. People are like, I don't want to be personal. Like, this is not Instagram, or I don't like that style. That's not my style. I'm a very preserved type of person. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I definitely don't say more than, I don't even say, no, I don't say more than 10% of my life on LinkedIn. Um, but personal means just being human in the aspect of what you, the mistakes you've made and the good things you've done and the people you've met and what you're doing on a day to day in your business side of things. So I do think it's important for people to connect with you because humans are wired to understand stories. That's how we were transferring information our whole life, by stories. Before we didn't have a phone or Google Drive or the cloud. How did we recollect all this information from history before? It was through stories, because people were telling stories to their children, to their grandchildren. Then they wrote down these stories in books, and these books are still there, and that's how we have that information. So humans are wired to understand story a lot better.
Right. Totally agree with you. And I'll make you some examples. I remembered you even before we met in Amsterdam, because once you shared your personal past together with your mother. So chapeau to your mother, because she gained also a lot of respect after the post you did, and that made your name stick in my brain. And the same thing happened with a top-notch search engine optimization specialist. I'm talking about Louis Smith. He shared about his difficult past, and that not only made him gain my respect and millions of other people respecting him, but it's also easier to remember that guy, or in this case, Diandra. So before I move on to the next question, and we have one question coming from Josh. Can you compare the difference between posting videos versus photos versus text? How much more traction do you get posting videos?
Um, there was a time where everyone was riding the wave of video because this always happens on social platforms. And it's also important to be very observative of what's happening in the platform today, because maybe 2 months ago videos were doing super well, now they've kind of like leveled up. Then maybe carousels, there's always transformations happening on social media, and it's important to be kind of like updated. But videos do have higher engagement, I've seen, for myself and for our clients, compared to text, compared to photos. That doesn't mean you should just do video because of that. There is so many other great things about a good, well written text post that gives you straight to the point and is informative. And maybe like people, let's say like Robinsons of the world, they're pure video or text posts. He doesn't do carousels, he doesn't do these things, and it suits his vibe because he's a business founder, because it doesn't seem like him to be doing carousels. But another person like myself or Lee McKenzie for Backlinko, because so many of these things are so technical and they need a little bit more of a visual representation of how to do the step by step, then a carousel is a better format for the audience. So it's really understanding your audience and what's the way that they like to consume information. Of course, you also have to think about yourself. How do you enjoy giving information out there? But you also think about your audience and how they'd like to receive this information.
Great. So, Josh, I hope we, Diandra, answered your question. In case you have some extra questions, just drop a comment down below. In the meantime, I move to the next question. Okay, so we are in the AI years. Everybody's AI, AI, AI. So the natural question that I couldn't skip in this webinar is which part of LinkedIn content creation and publishing process can be automated in your opinion, and where you think that human touch is still needed? Complex question. So
Very hard for anyone in content marketing, if it's SEO, if it's LinkedIn, if it's whatever. But AI is here. AI is here to stay, and AI is here to get even better. So we can't sorry, AI is to boost communication outcomes, but some say use AI is condemned. Is it okay to use AI to better communicate my content? So I'll answer that question with saying AI won't replace you, but someone using AI will. So I'm not going to come here and tell you, oh no, don't use it, because that would just be me acting in the past. That's what we have today, and we have to learn how to use it. We just need to learn how to use it well. So in content creation, Claude is my favorite. I honestly think Claude has a much more human and kind of like clear flow to the text output that it puts out there. And it's such a good helping hand. Think of AI as a tool, not a replacement. So, what you can do, even for yourself, is create a project on Cloud and input it with all the information you have of yourself. So the podcast you've been on, get the transcripts of that, put it in that project. If you've written blogs, if you've written posts yourself, anything that you've done in the past that you can get in written form, put it there. If you've done presentations, put that there. Because this is the literal words that came out of your mouth, your wording, your tone, the way you speak, the things you think, the expertise you have, the knowledge you've put out there. You just put it in one project and it helps you, because now you're going to think about a post and you kind of created an ugly draft. You wrote it really fast. It needs some polishing. You put it in that project in Claude and tell them, like, hey, help me make this flow better, communicate better, format it in a LinkedIn friendly way. And you can give the AI, in this case Claude, kind of like an example of what a good formatted LinkedIn post is, and it'll push something really, really well. But it won't be pushing something with random input on the internet. It's going to be pushing something from input that you've put in. So not only for yourself, but let's say you're helping your founder or your CMO or anyone within your team to also grow on LinkedIn. You can do the same thing for them. You don't have their brain. You can't go inside their brain, but what you can do is get everything that that person has ever said and condensing it in one place for it to be a support for you. Human touch will always be needed because that's just the life we live in. Maybe in a future AI will be taking over us and we'll be doing yoga in the forest or whatever. But today it's there, it's helpful, and I honestly feel that there's great ways to use it. I wouldn't say don't use it. That'd just be dumb of me.
Okay, great. So at this point, I think the tips we could give about LinkedIn are endless. I'm pretty sure about that, but we also have to get close to the end. So let's imagine that a B2B founder, business manager is gonna apply the tips that we you have given so far. What is a realistic timeline for seeing growth and potential leads coming from LinkedIn activity?
Realistic timeline, I would say, is between 3 to 6 months. With all the clients we've worked with, this is usually what's happening. But to see realistic results isn't to tell you that you're going to have 50K followers in 6 months. What I mean with realistic results is that someone is going to invite you to a podcast. Someone is going, you're going to get a few leads coming in. People that knew about you professionally will start telling you, hey, your content is great. I've seen you've been active on LinkedIn. I really like what you've been doing. This is real qualitative results that tell you that things are working. And sometimes we forget about these and we just want the big numbers and we say, oh, I only got 500 impressions, 1,000 impressions, 4,000 impressions. And then it's like, do you know how 500 people look like? Like, that's a lot of people. Like, you forget that you'll never have access to this amount of people, usually by a conference. Not even like yesterday, I was speaking to around 60 people in a room, and that for me looked like a lot of people. But we see it on an online platform and we say, oh, it was very little. It's like, you know how many eyeballs you're getting by one post that not even doing like a tour around all the conferences in your country, you'd be able to meet. So I feel like it's results are more of this qualitative. If you want to become the next influencer, and I can get you to 50K in 6 months, I'm sure of it because I can just create a bunch of like viral big posts. We can do all these stuff, but what we really want is for people to we want to build trust at scale, and that is the real results. So those results will happen around 3 to 6 months. You becoming an influencer, I don't know because I don't care.
Okay, great. So thank you, Sharon, for the detailed questions. Okay, so um, we have some of the final questions here, like um, if you should if you should give some suggestions about how to use LinkedIn the best way, or how to improve their copywriting, how to improve the commenting. Do you have any favorite newsletters, people, communities to suggest, or even tools?
Tools, love, authored up, Notion, Clio, Claude. Mm, those are my favorite bad tools. People, there's so many. Um, but if it's going to be specifically about LinkedIn, let's make it a little bit more broad. Content marketing. I love Sara Stella Latanzio. Um, I have a bunch of SEO guys, but they talk mostly all about SEO, just like Arthur does. Jasmine Alec, Laura Costa, they're very on the mindset side of LinkedIn, which is cool.
Hmm.
And Sam Shukan is great as well. He also does very specific LinkedIn content. Niall Ratcliffe, I'm really bad at pronouncing names because I'm Colombian, so all these names are very different. Yeah, I have other type more specific to content marketing, but if you want to learn about LinkedIn, those would be my
Hmm.
places that come in the top of my mind.
Yeah, and speaking about some of these names, I must um, thank Yasmin Alic for the approach that he made me change towards the comments, because I was treating the comments like, yeah, an interesting thing, but not as important as posting. And if some business founder is starting out on LinkedIn, I truly suggest to open 15, 20 posts coming from Yasmin and just read them carefully, because I can guarantee that your something in your brain will change. You will get at least one, most likely three or four interesting tips on how to use LinkedIn, and especially how to comment. So I highly recommend that guy. You will not regret. And okay, so final question: any final suggestions to business owners who want to grow their business, B2B business, using LinkedIn?
Don't think about it that differently to real life. Really, this is my main message, and I'll keep preaching this till the end of times, because what I see is that people start just becoming super mechanical, super robotized, and we were just like, can you give me the next algorithm insights? I'll send you that. Send me a DM right now and I'll tell you. Don't put links in your post, post at 8 a.m. All of these things, you'll find them just by a simple Google search. There's plenty of blogs of people talking about these algorithm insights. Post at the right time, engage with people 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after. I'm happy to give these tips. But for me, the most important thing is that mindset shift, that you're not going to get anywhere if you're not creating a real community and you're not giving to get. It's the psychological effect of reciprocity. I am in Vienna, Austria, because I, for around a year, created a back and forth connection with another business founder through comments. We connected, we would do jokes and have fun, and we connected as human beings. And then he's like, hey, I would love for you to come and speak in Vienna for our marketing meetup. Not because I created the best design post, or because one day, because every single day I posted at 8 a.m. and I am not a human, and maybe once in a while I posted at 9 and 10 and not at 8 a.m. What really, really has given me all these opportunities that I have had is because I sat down with someone and had dinner in Barcelona, because we connected through LinkedIn, because I sent her a message like, "Hey, I'm in Barcelona. Would you want to meet up?" She did. Ended up in Semrush conference. I I commented on someone's post that I actually really genuinely liked, and I told them, I like your post, and I kept doing it. I'm in Vienna, Austria. I commented on someone that was in my same city. I'm from Colombia, Medellin. So the amount of opportunities that are there is not the same in other places. And I didn't have these connections because of my university or because of my dad. I didn't have any of these. And because I reached out to someone to tell them, like, hey, you're in Medellin, I would recommend doing this and that. We met up. He's now a business partner of mine, and we're flying to New York to do the business. Like, things that in my mind were unimaginable were are imaginable and are happening today because I treated LinkedIn as a human place to be. I was giving without wanting to get back. I was connecting with other people. I was creating real relationships that standed through time, and it gave me the opportunities I have right now. So, if you go with anything out of this, and if you want to know about specific algorithm stuff and like that, those are out there, but leave with this in mind, that don't treat LinkedIn differently to how you would treat meeting someone in real life.
Yeah, and I would extend this suggestion to any social media. So just give a bit less energy to negative, angry comments and start building positive relations instead, because that is the life changer. The life changer will not be blaming somebody because you're at peace with them. Just the life changer will be to leave a long comment that shares useful tips, or just you make the people laugh so much that they will not forget you. That is gonna be the life changer for you, that
And you
helps you.
I like people that are contradictory, that don't agree with everyone else. But there's a fine line, and I love what you're saying with being disrespectful and being a hater and being actually someone that brings in value. I don't mind at all if you're going to comment on one of my posts and tell me that you don't agree with what I'm saying, but if you're coming from a place of genuine respect, and then we're probably going to become best friends because I'm going to be like, you're smart. Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't think about it this way. So it's like, yeah, like this whole negative energy can be turned so easily. If you don't agree with something, that's completely fine. Thank God everyone doesn't agree with everyone because we'd all just be little robots saying yes to everything. But yeah, it's like just come from a place that's more genuine. Life will be a lot easier.
I can confirm that thing by my personal experience. On some posts about AI, I didn't agree, shared by a big content creator. Um, I didn't agree. I just dropped a comment disagreeing, but without never without missing respect is the rule number one. And because I was expressing my sincere opinion about something, that comment brought me something like 50,000 impressions or 80,000 impressions. And I have at least three comments of those magnitude, like 50,000 impressions, 20,000 impressions, 10,000 impressions. All what I was doing is I was not fully agreeing about using some kind of AI, and that's it. So negative, no space for negativity, but space for criticism. There is a lot on LinkedIn. Like, be critical, not be, don't be just, don't throw bad things on others people just
Yeah,
because you're
don't
angry with
be like, oh, I need to comment on someone and tell them, I agree, I love your post because, oh no, people are gonna hate me. Like, also,
them.
also be also be critical. Like some of my closest friends on LinkedIn have sometimes commented on my post telling me like I don't agree or I agree with this part but I would add this it's like yes, please, like let's open the space for actual human thoughts and critical thinking to happen. Like you don't have to become this yes, yes, love your post, great to make friends. You also make friends through showing your real perspective and actually teaching someone something new. Like, and if the other person can't handle that, then that's just on them.
Yeah, I totally agree. So this is an implicit comment suggesting to do not use the AI generated comments on LinkedIn.
Oh
Like,
my God.
don't,
Yeah.
yeah, good tips. I love it. Just don't comment. Leave it there. Nobody will remember you because of that comment. So just don't do that.
It's
And
not adding anything. If it's adding, it's if it's doing something, it's only subtracting to you because it's just leaving a bad taste on everyone's mouth of like, what are you doing?
yeah, absolutely. As this, the target audience of this webinar is founders and business owners, don't do that because one of those comments can really make people skeptical about your expertise. So just don't go with AI generated comments unless they are fine tuned with huge databases of expertise. They know how to write human sounding comments. In that case, we can rediscuss it. But if it's just cool, you are nice, period, just don't do that. Leave it blank, the comment space. Okay, so we have, first of all, we have some. Hi, Arthur. Thank you for joining, Dawood. Then we have somebody shouting your name. Ademola, thank you for
I
joining the event.
love him.
Thank you for joining the event. And then we have Ahmad. It's not fair, this thing that you can make hearts. I can.
You're doing it weird. What is this? That's why it's not working.
Okay, does it
Gotta do
remind?
real hard. This is like real hard. What is this? This is like Gen Z hard. Come on.
Yeah, I feel with hearts. Anyways, so we have Ahmad Amin. Thank you for sticking till this point, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
What's the
it's because of
way?
the internet connection, but thanks for everyone that's still here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's the best way to make offers for your warm and cold audience? Hmm.
I think the best way to do an offer is not doing an offer, but just being clear about what you do and then maybe coming in with a question, with some value, with an extra asset. Cold outreach, cold emailing, cold calling, or warm calling, or warm emailing do still work. That's not my expertise. That's that's not my way of living. I don't like it, but I respect my sellers so much because I have so many seller friends out there. I respect
Mhm.
them so much. But for me, the best way to make offers is to be so clear about what you do that if you ever reach out to someone or you ask them a question, they right away know what you offer and they'll want to come to you. I'm an inbound girly at heart. My outbound people, please come at me. I love it because I was a seller once. But there's nothing better than you being so clear in your profile, in your posts, in your comments of what you do that the day you do reach out to someone and you tell them, like, hey, I think this will help you out. I created this badass asset that I'd love for you to see. And then this person will be like, hey, actually, could you help me with that? I'd love to buy from you. I'd love to do this. And if you do a little bit of cold outreach, then at least that you all have already built that credibility and that trust
Mhm.
that it's not going to feel like you're like, can you please buy from me, please?
Yeah, yeah. And if I may add something on this, I never do cold outreach because I actually do warm outreach. So how I do is I post, I post, I drop a comment, I see new followers incoming, and every morning I open the list of new followers, those 30, 40, 200, depends by what happened the day before. And I go through that list. I spot interesting headlines, people whose title is relevant to me, and I start sending them connection requests. Hey, Josh, hey, Andrew, hey, no, mm, Diandra left the chat. Anyways, to she will come back, I'm pretty sure. So what I do is I go through the list of profile visitors and I spot the interesting one and I send them a connection request. If they accept, I start a DM. I tell them, hey Josh, thank you for accepting my connection request. I have noticed you among my new followers. What brought you to my profile? And then if they say that, hey, look, I need somebody to grow my LinkedIn, I need somebody to grow my business with search engine optimization, then I really start making questions. At what stage your business is, what do you think that you need the most, what didn't work in the past. And if I see that I can help them, then I make them a proposal to jump on a call. So Ahmad, I hope we answered your question. And some final comments from Kingsley. Gen Z hard. By the way, how is the Gen Z hard? I didn't know this is the Gen Z. This is the Gen Z, right? I'm, yeah, I cannot do it by the way. So I'm a Gen Z in theory, but in practice, I'm something in between. Anyways, so thank you everybody who joined this event. Thank you for everybody who stood with us till the end. Connection sometimes could be problematic, especially if we are in. Oh, Diandra is back. Connection sometimes could be problematic, especially if we go to Airbnbs. So thank you everybody who stood with us till this point. As you can see, Diandra popped up again. And Diandra, do you have some final words to wrap up the event?
No, I wanted to thank you for this space. Happy to do it in another circumstance where I am not in a freaking Airbnb that the internet does not work. Because I really do love this topic and I want to answer as much questions as I can and give as much value as I can. But I hope that in this kind of like intermittent type of live event that people were able to get value out of it. My DMs are always open. I'm happy to answer anyone's questions. And that's it. Thank you so much to you for inviting me and to everyone that actually sticked throughout this video.
Yeah, great. So most likely I will invite you again in a 2 3 months because these events are evergreen. Everybody needs LinkedIn. We love LinkedIn, so always a pleasure to share new tips. And That's it. Thank you, everybody who stood with us till this point. Till next